Well, hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. I'm your host, Sharon Vornholt, and I'm so happy you're joining us today. My guest today is Joe Killinger, and we are going to talk about something that Joe and I are both passionate about, and that is mentoring. Finding the right mentors along the way, in my opinion, is one of the most important things for success in this business, but certainly in any business. Joe has been in the real estate industry for over 20 years. He's an investor and founder in many real estate related startup companies. Joe continues to operate some of those companies and some have been sold. He also has a popular YouTube channel and a YouTube show called Real Estate Jam Session, where he has guests come on and talk about their path to success in real estate, probably some of their failures too. I was honored to be asked to be on his show recently, and I'll put a link to the Real Estate Jam Session in the show notes below. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for that intro.
Yeah. Well, I'm
My
happy
mother
to
would be
have
proud.
you. Well, you be sure and let your mother listen. So I'm so excited to have you on today because I am very passionate about the education side of this business and mentoring. And I think sometimes people get a little bit confused about how that all works. But before we dive into that, I want to have you tell everyone a little bit about how you got started in your story. I know you have an interesting story, and then we'll just move on from there.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. So I'm originally from Nebraska, small town, Wallback, Nebraska, town 281. Grew up on a working farm, and but went off to college. Family ended up losing the farm. It was the 80s, and there was a lot of that going on. So I ended up moving to California to start to work because there was just no jobs at the time in Nebraska that I could really do. Ended up in San Clemente, found a place to live, and I started selling shoes at Stride Right Shoes in Laguna Hills Mall and telemarketing at nights. But I always had this real estate bug because it's just something that I always, and honestly, I'm not really sure where it came from, but I just always loved real estate. And growing up on a farm, I always thought, oh, someday I'll own a farm. But after you get into your teens working a farm, you're like, you know what? That's enough of this. This is real work. But I always had this real estate bug. So I ended up getting my real estate license while I was working, and just gradually found a mentor that in residential, and she kind of showed me the ropes there. Probably should have been a little bit more picky on the mentor I chose, but she worked part-time. It just wasn't a good fit. So I ended up moving to LA, working on movie sets and in construction. Lived in a hotel my room was 10 by 10, and I had a roommate that we split the cost. It was 2 beds in there. That was it. And there was no, and the bathroom was down the hall. And so, and by the way, he went off and has done very, very well in the entertainment industry. He's doing very well. I just saw him and his wife in their new home last week. But so I struggled a lot, but saving that money, I just started doing some fix and flips and small properties. And then I ended up in the real estate auction business for a lot of years. And then that company did an IPO, and they got caught fudging some numbers in that IPO. And so I was in the marketing department. My now partner, George Pino, was in the closing department. I got moved into the closing department under George, and that's how I met him, was being in that closing department. And then lo and behold, a few months later, he laid me off. And so we've been business partners ever since. And he pays for it every day.
You make him pay for that.
You bet I do. Laid me off. We're going to do this for the rest of our life, buddy. So, but we've built a few companies, like you were saying earlier, and some of them we still operate. Some of them we sold, like our property management company. We didn't want to go through the pandemic with it because it was mostly SFRs and smaller multifamily, and we knew that was going to be a mess. We wanted to focus on our brokerage. We sold that off, and they took all of our employees. But we have our brokerage, Commercial Brokers International in Los Angeles. We've got 13 of the best commercial real estate agents that are doing very, very well. But during the pandemic, we just want to focus on that. And so we're doing this. And then the YouTube channel and I do have a website under my name, joekillinger.co. And we do blogs there and post these videos. But it's really to help people because when I got into it, there was no internet. mentoring was very, and I, like I said, my first mentor was a mistake. And so I've got a lot of lessons to teach and, or to, I don't know if teach is the right word, but to put out there. And if anybody wants it, it's there for them. But we just decided that when we could have the opportunity to give back to our industry, because I love this industry. I love the people I get to meet people like you, Sharon. I was just talking to Rod Khalif a little bit ago. Great people in this industry doing a lot of great things. And I love this industry. And there's a lot of potential to make a lot of money here too.
That is one of the benefits of what we do. And that is getting to meet so many cool people from around the country and see so many different perspectives. I love your story, and you took me way back with Stride Right shoes. I used to spend a lot of money on those for my kids. Yeah. But they were pricey even back all those years ago. But I talk a lot about the time before the internet, and some of the younger people, they look at me like we're crazy. My granddaughter, she can't fathom at 21 years old not being born in the digital world. She says, well, who would get a bill when you can get it online? And it's interesting to see the different perspectives. But it's interesting too that you talk about your first mentor was a mistake. My first real estate investing mentor was a mistake. She was a great person. She was an agent, but did she understand investing and what a good deal really looked like? Not so much. She wasn't an investor herself. And I don't blame her, because let's just say we both went to school on that one together. But there is so much value in getting the right mentor. So I know that, let's say, first of all, how do you define a mentor? So I think of a mentor as someone that not only helps you grow your business, but helps you grow personally. And they get you from point A to point B. Maybe that's going to be different for everybody. But how do you define a mentor?
Yeah, it's got to be personality driven, right? Yeah. Because if I'm an aggressive A-type personality person and I end up partnering with somebody that's not, and they're going to be my mentor, that might not be a good fit. Mm-hmm. I mean, you really want to... It's being particular about who you bring into and what you actually bring to the relationship, and that's one thing I think that I find, because we have a foundation, mentorwire.org. So we take young women that are in either last couple of years of high school or they're getting into college, and they want to learn real estate. Now, it doesn't have to be a residential or commercial broker. It could be a title, escrow, anything. And then we find them a mentor to work with them, and it's all done on Zoom now. So, but so I've had a lot of experience with this. But if I'd have known when I was looking for my first mentor that I need to also think about, what do I bring to the table? And so if I'm wanting you to be my mentor, Sharon, I'll come to the table and say, okay, Sharon, are you pretty computer savvy? If you're not, I am. Let me take that off the plate for you. I need to bring value to you. And so you find what you can bring value, and then you have to interview them as much as they're interviewing you, because this is your future. This is, you've got to really be thinking about what you want to do and how you want to get there.
I think that is so awesome. So you purposely find people and hook them up with a mentor early on, maybe even before they know they really need a mentor or the value of a mentor.
Yeah, we do. It's a lot of young women we focus on, and because I like to see more women in the commercial real estate industry, or actually in the real estate industry. Mm-hmm. And so, how do we get them there? Mentoring is a way that I found that can really help bring that to being.
Well, I really commend you for that, because even today, certainly when you got in the business, it was very much a man's world. It's not good or bad. It just is. But even today, the women are lagging behind, and I've been on a real push to drag them into the business for a long time. But finding a man that does that is really quite unique. That purposefully does that is quite unique. So that's a great thing you're doing. You talked about personality, the two personalities of the mentor and the person being mentored, and how they have to mesh. So what are some of the qualities that you would look for in this relationship? Personality is one, but what are some of the other ones?
Their goals, where they want to go. So if I'm looking for a mentor, and my mentor is just to make, if my goal is to go out and build a real business for myself, I want to be real estate agents. I want to become a commercial real estate agent. That's what I want to be. And so I need to go find a commercial real estate agent that mirrors what I want to do. So work it backward. So this is where I'm at now. Just got my license. I want to be making $1 million a year within X amount of years. Be realistic on that. Don't come in and say year one, I want to make $250,000, but, and build your plan backward. Say, this is where I want to be. And then you got to really look, okay, I want to make this amount of money, and on hourly wage, this is what I'm making. If it's $200 an hour, $50, whatever it is, start there, really work it backward. And how do I get there? What steps do I need to take to get me there? Who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to get connected with to get me there? And build a business plan, backward, forward, and really start going backward. Now go out and find a mentor that is doing what you want to get to, and try and get them to work with you. And it's going to take a lot of door knocking. You're going to get told no a lot, because a lot of people, successful people, get a lot of people that want to work with them, right? So you're going to get told a lot. So you have to sell yourself, but make sure it's a good fit. Don't just take the first person that says, yes, I will mentor you.
Now, are we talking about paid mentoring? Or are we talking about more of
I'm talking about free mentoring.
You're talking about free mentoring.
Yeah, if you can get them, get to give you a stipend, that would be great too. But in that case, if you can find that, then that's great, because you can. It's not so much pressure, right? Now you don't have to worry about, okay, I can only do this for 4 months or 5 months. If you can get them to pay you, then that would be ideal.
Well, I was actually thinking about the other way around. Let's say I want to hire Joe. Do I pay you for the mentoring like a coach?
Oh, do you as the mentee want to pay me as a mentor?
Do I want to pay? I think that's the way most people. Well, I think everybody starts out with some free mentoring. Where you try to build that relationship. Yeah. But at some point in time, you're going to have to level up a little bit, and you're going to have to pay somebody good to help you.
Yeah, I mean it depends. I was talking about brokerage, so it doesn't really happen that much in brokerage, but investments, yeah. I mean, you're going to have to really, or, let's say you're a new investor and you have a little bit of money, find an investor that is already doing what you want to do and throw in a little bit of money with them, and then work with them and invest side by side with them and learn from them that way too. We did that, and, it's worked pretty well.
It's curious that you bring that up, because I talked to 2 people in the past probably month, and both of them went and worked for someone for free. They're both very successful today, but they wanted to be mentored by that person. And they said, let me just come in, tell me what you need me to do, and I'll do anything. And in return, they got to learn the business at a such faster pace than they could have ever learned on their own. So it was a tremendous way to learn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get that high level training, but you have to live it too. You've really got to, when you get somebody that's willing to mentor you, you've really got to take it serious. And it's a business. You need to understand that. Listen, my father used to, this is always a good one. I'm starting to sound like my father. Joe, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Less talking. Okay. Listen. And, then it was always, when we were out on the farm working, was, stay awake, because there's a lot of moving parts when you're working with equipment on a farm, and so he was always wanting me to stay focused, and but that really translated across most industries.
I think all of our parents must have known that same saying in that time period. I think it must have been a generational thing.
It'll probably pass down. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. When you are mentoring someone, you're taking them from one point to another on this journey. Like you said, you're going to work the plan backwards. Yep. How do you handle it when their mindset doesn't allow them to even think about those goals? Maybe they're selling themselves short. They're not putting the bar high enough. How do you handle that?
That if you're mentoring somebody, and you need to have a conversation with them, say, listen, is this I've done it a few times. Go, listen, I don't think this is your passion. Mm-hmm. And, if you're not passionate for this business, you and I both know, Sharon, there's ups, down, up, down. Passion is what's going to get you through. And so passion and a plan, right? And,
Right.
if you need to have the passion, and I sit down and talk to them and go, listen, this may not be for you, maybe not right now. And it seems like there's something else going on in your mind. You want to talk about it, let me know. So I'll have that conversation a couple times. And then finally I'm like, listen, this is not what you want to do. The passion's not there. And tell me what do you want to do? And I'll see if I can help you get there. And if that doesn't work out and this is something you want to try again, we'll try it again. But you also have to think that as a mentor, your mentor is probably somebody that's successful, made a little bit of money in their life. You're taking their time, so think about, if you're a mentee, think about, I am getting all this. I know I'm giving some too, but I'm getting all this. And so, especially if they're paying you, if they're giving you a stipend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've had the situation before where people would get into a paid coaching group, but they weren't invested in the group. They wouldn't show up with and do anything. Basically, right. It's like, I'm not really sure why you're here. And I would have the same talk with them. For me, it's when I would do those types of things, it was never about the money. It was about the result.
Yeah.
So I was always confused when they said this is what they wanted, but they weren't willing to really jump in and play full out. Yeah. And for me, it's very frustrating. So you just talk to the people.
When we do, so I do a lot of the recruiting for our commercial brokerage company here in Los Angeles. And so I get the resume, I look it over, I give them a call, and I tell them about our company. And then I ask them, what are you looking for? And, in the beginning, it's mentoring mostly to get them started, because a lot of them aren't, we have experienced agents, we know them, so we can call them and try and recruit them. But I'm getting a resume, and I just tell them up front, go, listen, this is what it's going to take. If you really want to be in commercial real estate, I talked to 8 people last week, and not one of them bit. And because of the way I qualify it out, I'm like, listen, if you want to be successful in commercial real estate as an agent, we're going to need you 18 to 24 months in the office, 8:30 to 5:30. You're going to do, at least 50 cold calls a day, warm calls, social networks, LinkedIn, email. And I lay it all out. I said, if you're not willing to do that, then, you've got to really rethink about, are you really going to commit to this? Because you're not, this is commission only. And so we really qualify them out ahead of time. And I tell you what, though, Sharon, the ones that do come on board, I brought 2 young ladies on board. I think it was November of last year. I think they're going to do their first year in business. They're probably going to do $150,000 each, wow, which is unheard of. But I tell you, I got to shoo them out of the offices. I'm like, okay, let's go home. So, but the eagerness to learn is there, and the eagerness to listen. And so I know I make it sound like I'm being kind of harsh with people. I'm not really. I tell them what it's going to take, because if that's what you want to do to really become the best commercial broker, then this is what it's going to take. And then it's a great time. The pandemic has had a big, commercial real estate is evolving a lot faster now than it ever has. So, there's a lot of opportunity in commercial real estate. So
that's where your interests are, as in commercial real estate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, we invest in and broker.
Okay. That's so interesting, because I look around my city and I see so much commercial real estate, and it doesn't seem to have been as affected by the pandemic here as maybe some other places. I'm sure some businesses went out of business, smaller commercial spaces. Yeah. But the big people seem to be doing fine. So let me ask you a question. This is a sincere question. So if someone comes to work, like, I guess it's with any real estate brokerage, it's going to take them a while to get steam to make some money.
Yeah.
Do they work part-time jobs, or how does that work?
I have this conversation every couple of days. So people will call, and especially if they're residential, they were in residential first. And, probably our biggest downfall is these $1 million listing shows and all that. Everybody sees every agent running around and this beautiful life. And, we know a lot of those people being in LA, those agents, they've worked a long time. If you go look at those people, they've been in the business a long time before they got on that show. Yeah. And It's just not true life. Those people all struggled in the beginning, well, unless they had family wealth. Some of them has family wealth behind them, but others didn't. Others worked really hard to get started. And, we tell them 8 months, you're not going to make money for 8 months. Now, our company does a lot of marketing, so we are able to give our agents leads. That really, I think the longest we've probably gone is 4.5 months. And so, but still, it's tough to get started, and you are going to be living in the office doing everything that your senior pushes you to. And that's why this is where I can get in trouble, because but here we go, is the big firms, the CBREs, the JLLs, the Avison Youngs of the world, they bring you in, and then you're working in this team, and you're a lead generator. And so it takes a while to really start making money there. Now and then eventually you'll move up, but everything is, you got your split with your company, and then you got your split with the team. That's probably not enough money to live. And hopefully they're giving you a stipend, but you have to pay that back. You always have to keep in mind. Now, if you go to a smaller firm, a lot of them will, they get their split, and this is what you want when you're interviewing with a brokerage. If you get your split, they're giving you your training, your mentoring. But if you're going to go out, have a senior agent go out on a deal to pitch or listing presentation or showings, they may want a piece of it. So you got to clarify that all. So, you got to really ask a lot of questions.
I know it's a process. So they should have maybe 8 months to a year of survival money.
Yeah.
To go into that. It's kind of a long-term play, like with any type of real estate, any type of brokerage, whether it's residential or commercial.
It's really, Sharon, what you put into it, you'll get out of it. If you get in the office at 8:30 to 5:30 and you're doing your cold calling on your sphere of influence, or your warm calling, your email program through your CRM that you've got, everybody you come in contact with, working your social networks. I was talking to, do you know who Carrie Bob is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, she's an agent out of San Diego. Somebody really, I'm going to connect you because she should be on your show. She's brilliant. And her marketing is on. She owns not just a brokerage in San Diego, but she also owns a marketing company.
Okay.
But she was on the show, and I was talking to her, and she goes, there's not been a better time to get into real estate there is right now. There's a lot of opportunity because the way you can market yourself, because somebody my age is probably not, well, I do, I guess I should. Somebody my age is not so much on social. They're not really utilizing LinkedIn. They're relying on referrals and cold calls. And, they're thinking, that stuff is never going to work.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the young 26-year-old agent that just got into business is starting to tear at their market share because they're doing the content on LinkedIn, Instagram, even TikTok. The power of TikTok it's incredible. You want to check out, for those watching, if you like TikTok, check out Eddie Gonzalez, AZCRE, I believe, on TikTok. He puts phenomenal content out, and he does some cold calling, but mostly just focuses on TikTok. So these platforms can generate business.
They can, and things like your show. And I talked to someone I mentioned earlier, a Memphis investor, the other day, and I said, "How do you get most of your leads?" And he said, "Through my daily podcast." And how he gets private money for, he does some syndication deals. So
gotcha.
That is how he generates leads and generates money. And I thought that was so fascinating that is his main lead generation source, his podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure it works. I might not have set it up right because I always have guests come on, and I'm always telling people to go to these guys' sites. So may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but I think we're giving content out that can help people that really want to learn how to be a sophisticated real estate investor.
I disagree with that analogy, but you have great content. But this is something I've talked about forever. I always tell people you can't be the best kept secret in town. You have to generate some kind of content.
Yep.
You don't have to have a YouTube channel, maybe. You don't have to have a podcast, but you have to do something. And for a lot of the younger people, it is things like TikTok, Instagram, Reels, all different sorts of things. I'm a little bit more, I haven't dived into the TikTok thing because that's where the 20-year-olds are and the 18-year-olds are. But I know there are a lot of full-fledged real estate investors and real estate brokers that are on TikTok.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The average age now is, I think, mid-30s.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's moved up. It'll get older quickly. We tend to.
It's got to move up,
take
Joe,
over.
for us.
We take over.
Let me ask you this. Do you have kind of I know it's tailored to the individual, but there must be certain things that you want every person to know. Do you have a benchmarks or skill sets? How do you mentor someone? If I came into you and said, okay, Joe, I know absolutely nothing. I'm going to go over here and do the work. But what are the things I need to learn? Is there a path for me, a success path?
It really does depend on the person, but I sit down and I want to hear their business plan. How much time do they have? What do you want? Do you want you want to do fix and flips? Do you want to do, as an investor, I'm talking about, as an investor, what is your long-term plan? And, then I try and assess with them, like for me to sit down and read, and some people love to read. So I say, okay, well, here's some books that you should go read. I do some research, or if they don't like to read, I say, okay, here's YouTube channels you should go look at. So I kind of adjust what we do by the individual and their personality. But, it's really, I want to hear about what you're thinking as far as your business plan. How do you want to get there and your time frame to get you there? And, I think that's that's the best starting point, is to really figure all that out.
Okay. And then you would want to agree on the desired outcome. Like you said, where do they need to get from here to here? Well, this is just fascinating because I think people, they don't really know how this works. Right. So if I were to come to you, or somebody comes to you and said, Joe, I want you to mentor me, and you're going to sit me down and find out what my goals are. What do they need to bring to the table? What is it? Their work ethic? What is it they need to bring to the table?
I tell you, we push on our people, efficiency, productivity. You got to monitor your productivity. I want to see if how can I make you more efficient so your production goes up? If your goal is to do 10 deals a year and you want $50,000, you're going to put in your pocket, everyone, then we can kind of figure it all out. But if you're, how long between deals is it going to be? Really look at the productivity. How efficient do you need to be to reach this productivity level? Okay.
That's interesting.
It's really not hard.
Yeah. So it's more about what they do rather than fancy tools or software. It's about them.
This is a very local business. You need to be if you want to go in and be the best investor, the best agent, and you want to be in West LA, then you better be the person that knows everything that's been on the market. I mean, there's so many tools for this. Now, if you're a broker, you got CoStar. But if you want to if you're an investor, there's LoopNet that's free. There's all these other sites that you can get to. You need to know everything about it. What properties are on the market, how long have they been on the market, are there any concessions right now? Know everything about that market. And you'll be surprised when you start, if you're an investor or an agent, and you know all this and you're talking to other people and you become the go-to person in that community, people start coming to you. So
that's very interesting. Very, very true though. You're back to, you can't be the best kept secret, and you've got to be knowledgeable.
Yeah. And as far as marketing yourself, it's hard. Every time I post something on Instagram or LinkedIn and oh God, I hate to do this. It's so hard to hit post because it just seems so embarrassing. Now I don't care. I'm like, whatever, whatever you want. But, in the beginning, and don't worry about, is it perfect? Is it perfect? Somebody on there is going to find something wrong with it no matter what. Don't worry about, is it perfect? Just get it out. Get it out. Put data out. If you want to get known in an area, put all the current data out about an area. If it's sales, put in sales, multifamily sales. You want to be a multifamily investor or broker, put in multifamily. This many are on the market. This many sold this last month, days on market, occupancy levels, all that. And, same with leasing, do the same thing.
Knowing your numbers is everything. It gives you credibility, and it tells people that you are the undisputed expert in your area.
Yep. It's really not hard. It's just, you need to have your consistency.
That is That is great advice, Joe. So, you have any final advice? Did I not ask you something that people really need to know?
No, I think it just, if you want to be in real estate, you want back to mentoring. I know that's what we're kind of all over, I guess, thanks to me. But to find the right mentor, really take the time to find the right individual that fits your end game, but make sure you're bringing value to them. So if you're bringing value to them, they're going to open up more. When you do something great and they're happy that you've done it, it's just, you've got to really build a relationship. So find the right relationship for you, and then just listen to what they have to say. So, and read everything. Get on Globe Street if you're in commercial real estate, globest.com, The Real Deal. That's more resident. It's both, I guess. Biz Now, Plain Vanilla Shell, QSR Magazine. Read all those every day, and you can keep up on the market pretty well. And LinkedIn's a great resource too.
Yeah, those are all great resources. So what's the best way for folks to reach out to you, Joe?
It's you can email Joe at joekillinger.co, joe@joekillinger.co, and you can find the YouTube link. Actually, you can go to my website, joekillinger.co, and you can find the YouTube link there and go in. And if you could, please subscribe. I'd love to have more subscribers. And but never hesitate to reach out with questions. We answer questions every day. People that just, hey, I've got a lady that shot me an email this morning. She wants me to look at an investment property for her. So, we'll do that.
Well, I'll put all the links here, and I'll put a link to Joe's YouTube show. That is such good information over there. And you should really check out all of his content, because he does a good job. And when you get to be as old as me and Joe, you've done a lot. You've done a lot of it.
We've got a lot to share. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we have a lot to say, don't we, Joe?
Yes, we do.
Well, Joe, thanks so much for coming on the show today and sharing your knowledge. It's so much fun talking to people that have different perspectives and can teach me something. I learn something every single time. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks to all the listeners who come out week after week. I really appreciate it. And if you like this show, and I know you do, please share us and leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. I would really appreciate it. So have a great rest of your week, and I will see you all same time, same place next week. Bye for now.